Finally, tonight, for Women's History Month, we take a look at a special series of quarters honoring notable American women. This is the final year of the program, and one of the coins for 2025 features journalist and activist Ida B. Wells. We went to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia to watch hers being made. At the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, this is what they mean when they talk about making money. This machine turns out more than $187 in quarters every 60 seconds. These coins honor Ida B. Wells, the pioneering journalist and civil rights activist. It's one of the last in the Mint's 4-year American Women Quarters series. What happens in this area that works?
So this is the first step.
Production supervisor Clayton Crotty explains the process.
So 80% of each coil gets turned into coin.
The coils weigh as much as 11,000 pounds each. A machine punches out discs, the blank canvas for the coins. A press stamps the design onto them, what's called striking. When the Mint began in 1792, it took 3 years to produce 1 million coins. Now, 30 minutes. About 350 million Ida B. Wells quarters are expected to go into circulation. As an investigative journalist in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Wells raised awareness of the vicious violence against blacks in the era of lynching. In 2020, she was awarded a posthumous Pulitzer Prize for that work. As an activist, she pressed for a federal anti-lynching law, something that didn't become a reality until 2022, 91 years after her death. Wells was also at the forefront of efforts against segregated schools and for the Vote for Women.
Well, this would have been my dream job, and I did land my dream job.
Really?
Yes.
Mint sculptor Phoebe Hemphill had the challenge of translating that life history onto a canvas less than an inch in diameter.
The design goes through the committees in Washington, and if they choose the design and it happens to be my design, then I get the design and sculpt it. Yeah.
So for instance, with the Ida B. Wells quarter, did you submit a design?
I did. It was not chosen.
Is that a little bit of a disappointment?
Kind of, yeah. But I got to be humble with my expectations there.
Even though her design didn't win, she was chosen to sculpt the one that did. It was in her studio above the production floor that she transformed the 2-dimensional drawing into a 3-dimensional sculpture.
That's the main challenge in making a coin, is to get as much sculpture out of it as you can, given the constraint of that low relief.
She's one of the few Mint sculptors who still uses both traditional clay and plaster techniques and modern digital tools.
The designs that we try to come up with usually have important elements in it for the person's story, try to give an indication of a little bit about their background.
It's surreal and heartwarming at the same time.
Dan Duster, Ida B. Wells' great-grandson, appreciates the results.
The detail on it, John, is actually intricate and amazing. And so we talked about her hand positioning, the brooch that's on the coin, which is a feather to reflect her commitment to journalism. So yeah, it was a very involved thing.
He helped pick the winning design and now uses the quarter whenever he can.
Normally I use a credit card, right? So I've been paying for cash with a lot of things, trying to see if I can get a quarter. So I did stumble upon it.
Smithsonian staff researched and picked the women who appear on the coins.
This is tangible. History is tangible. It's in your hand.
Elizabeth Babcock is director of the Smithsonian American Women's History Museum.
The idea there was that we wanted to end up with a set of women who really represent all the many ways that women in our country have contributed, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in STEM, whether it's in health and medicine. And I think we ended up with a really great set.
The only woman depicted on coins had been Lady Liberty until the Susan B. Anthony dollar in 1979. The Sacagawea dollar followed in 2000. In 2021, Congress established the American Women Quarters Program. Some of those honored are household names: Eleanor Roosevelt, Sally Ride, Maya Angelou. Others are less well known.
You can look at the beautiful quarter itself, and you can ask questions about, who is this woman? How did she contribute to American society and culture? Why is she important to history? It's such an amazing way that's accessible to all Americans to learn about women in the United States and through history.
Mint worker Frank Perkins was around when the Susan B. Anthony dollars were minted. He's been here since he was 18 years old.
50 years, is it something special about working at the Mint?
Yeah, being a part of history.
Now he helps mentor the newest generation of Mint employees.
I get them to understand that once you come into the building, you become a part of a machine, okay? What you do affects the next person, okay? So you gotta have honor and camaraderie together.
That's one of the lessons Dan Duster hopes people will take from Ida B. Wells' accomplishments.
When she saw a problem, I think most of us say, man, somebody needs to do something about that. She would say, somebody needs to do something, and I'm going to do it.
That determination now celebrated on a U.S. quarter.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal in one perspective, right? Is that it should be more normal that females are on currency. Another one is Ida B. Wells is on a quarter, and she's honored. So we're very happy about that.